Vekoma. Now that is a name that has been around in the industry for quite a while. Fun story, Vekoma is so old that they even pretty much just took Arrow's track design and used it for themselves. That's why Vekoma boomerang track looks something like, say, Loch Ness Monster. They're nearly identical, but one's a Vekoma and one's an Arrow. Though this track was advanced for its time, it wasn't designed to stay as good as new for decades, and just like Arrows, Vekomas became really rough. But today, luckily for us, Vekoma realized this and has since designed a new track style that grows with the technology and is meant to compete with other leading competitors like Intamin, B&M, and RMC. Vekoma developed tons of new models, including the new Boomerang and even the suspended Thrill Coaster. But for today, we're going to be focusing on the Space Warp, Firestorm, and Shockwave models. So on today's episode of Coaster Theory, we're going to see what parks could use one of these coasters. And for the sake of the video, we're going to stick to North American parks because there are plenty overseas in Europe and Asia. First and foremost, what are these models? First is the Space Warp. Currently, there is only one Space Warp made, and that is Formula at Energylandia. This is a smaller model that stays low to the ground and pops into a couple inversions. Also features a couple pops of airtime, but it's most likely going to go to parks that don't want to spend a lot of money, but still want something short and sweet. Our next model is the Firestorm. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the Top Gun because between the Firestorm and the Top Gun, we don't really have a lot of information, but that won't stop us from making our own theories. As of now, 2020, there are currently 2 Firestorms in construction, one in China and one in Vietnam. It looks like this coaster is going to have one launch, which is going to propel the train up this top hat, and then from there on out, it'll go through the rest of the layout. It could have a second launch that I'm missing, but let's just say that it's going to have one. I would say that the Firestorm is in the middle of the pack between the Space Warp and the Shockwave. The Shockwave is Vekoma's largest launch coaster model and is Vekoma's answer to the Intamin Blitz. Just compare Abyssus at Energylandia to Taiga in Finland. Both have 2 launches, a top hat, airtime hills, but mostly inversions. The Shockwave is going to be for parks that are willing to spend the money to get that big ride to get more guests through the gates. If you're new to the channel and enjoy the content, be sure to click that subscribe button down below for more videos just like this. So, what parks can I see getting a brand new Vekoma launch coaster? Silver Dollar City already has 2 outstanding launch coasters, one that spins and the other with a wicked fast acceleration. I would say that a launch coaster that focuses on inversions would be a good fit. Time Traveler is all about that spinning experience, and because of that, it could take away from the layout. I think we all can admit if we put normal trains on Time Traveler, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. And with Powder Keg, the launch is the main draw to the ride, because the rest of the layout is just wide turns and a drop. I'm not saying getting the largest coaster in the world, they could go the cheaper route and get something like the Space Warp. Considering Silver Dollar City's coasters are either low to the ground or in a hole, a smaller launch coaster would fit nicely. Now, there's a trend with Silver Dollar City and trying out new rides and then putting a larger one at Dollywood. A couple weeks ago, I suggested a Vekoma Shockwave for this park, and I think that would be perfect. From the looks of it, Dollywood is either going to receive a Mach or a B&M as their next coaster, but I feel that a classic launch coaster in the form of a Vekoma would be fantastic. Okay, hear me out. As of now, Dollywood has 2 launch coasters, Lightning Rod and Fire Chaser Express. First, let's talk about Lightning Rod. When people discuss the best parts of Lightning Rod, they almost never say the launch because it's overshadowed by the wave turn, outer bank, quad down, etc. The launch is not what makes Lightning Rod one of the best wooden coasters out there. As for Fire Chaser Express, well, that's a family coaster. So if the park adds a multi-launch, it would give a good ride that's all about launches and inversions and would appeal to a much older audience. Now Dollywood is going to announce their large largest investment yet, and a good theory to what they're getting is a mock spinner. So what if they get that for 2021? A mock spinner is most likely going to have a couple of launches. Would that affect a Vekoma coming? Well, no. A Vekoma wouldn't spin. Cedar Fair has not gotten a new Vekoma in ages, but if they were to get one, I would say they're gonna put it at Canada's Wonderland. Not just does Cedar Fair like trying out rides here, but Canada's Wonderland desperately needs a big launch coaster. After Yukon Striker, I think a new launch coaster is the way to go. However, Cedar Fair loves to work with mock, so I can also see them adding a mock multi-launch, maybe a spinner if we're lucky. If Wonderland does get a Vekoma, I would like to see them go all out with a Firestorm or a Shockwave. A ride like this would be eye-catching, re-rideable, and new to Canada. It could easily be one of the best launch coasters in the country. If not for Canada's Wonderland, then maybe California's Great America. Yeah, it's not the largest park out there, but that's okay. They can get a space warp. They just got a coaster all about airtime and whippy transitions, so why not build one that's fast and stays close to the ground? And even today, Vekoma likes to clone things, so a clone of Formula would fit nicely among a Raptor, Invert, Woody, and so much more. This is the last Cedar Fair park we're going to talk about. I'm going to be honest, I am not totally behind Katie getting a Vekoma, but they are going to need something to rival Pantheon. Besides, Flight of Fear is getting old and Bacala is for the families, so a modern, new and improved LSM coaster is not just needed, but necessary. I don't see it being an Intamin because of Pantheon or Premier because there's two other Premiers in the park, so that leaves Vekoma as an option. Again, at the same point, I would love to see an S&S compressed air launch coaster come to avenge Hypersonic. Last but surely not least is one of my personal favorite parks. I don't know what it is with SeaWorld adding launch coasters, but if BGT is gonna hop on the same trend as BG Dub, then an intense launch coaster like Pantheon is next. I would say maybe a hyena theme would be cool. They could put it next to Cheetah Hunt or behind the Rhino Rally Scream and Swing. Now, if SeaWorld is going to add one of these, then I hope they would go all out with the Shockwave. That makes the most sense considering Shockwaves are all about inversions, which would make it much different than Cheetah Hunt and Tigress. So what do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Be sure to tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, today's question of the day is, if you were to build any Vekoma coaster, what model would it be? How tall would you make it? Where would you put it, and what color would it be? And of course, I say this every episode, but if you're not already listening to my podcast, Talkin' Trimless, be sure to click that link in the description down below. It's a blast. If you enjoyed and want to see more just like it, click this video right here. If you want to subscribe to my channel, click my logo right here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Zach from Theme Park Media signing off, and I will catch you in the next one.